So welcome sports fans, welcome to another preview review show. I'm going to have a quick chat about Notts County the other night. Not much to talk about really, and also we're going to have a quick preview of Bristol City on Saturday. So if you're watching this on Friday or you're watching this Saturday, good evening, good morning, whenever this is. I'm Foxy, as you all know. I'm with Rob behind the camera for now. How are you doing, Rob? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm a bit more positive actually for the last couple of weeks. I thought it was going to be this last couple of weeks. So we've also had some decent transfer loan stuff today. Whether it's true or not, we'll have a little touch on that. But let's get straight down to business. We're outside in a very blustery Middlesbrough. Jumpers for goalposts set up. So this is a set Rob hasn't built because he can't afford this much turf, and we haven't got a shed big enough. But mini Wembley. So Notts County, what did we make of that? Pretty much as we kind of said, it was going to be a really changed team. Without getting bogged down with all this with stats and kind of and different things, I'm sure you guys are all fully aware of all your stats and different sort of what players have played and youngest players and you know, Nathan Woods and Mamutovic's and people like this who sort of made a first team appearance in a competition that means something, not just friendlies. What we have got is a decent bunch of kids there, a decent bunch of youth, talent, whatever you want to call them. A lot of people are saying if they were good enough to be starting, but I don't agree with that. I think these games are the perfect tonic to show what they can do. Pulis has enforced that. He's like what he saw. A lot of the academy coaches who've put these players where they are have endorsed it for a while, and they've come out. Everybody's kind of backing these youngsters. Not all of them, but a couple of them really made sort of a case to answer for to play in the first team, especially in the situation that we're in now. Chapman again for me, definitely. Mamutovic, which we've kind of touched on. Rob's kind of talked about that a little bit when we were talking about pre-season, and also Stephen Walker, who played really well. It was really fresh, talented guy, loves running with the ball, and actually set the second goal up. So, like I say, a lot of people are saying that, you know, if these kids were good enough to play, but as I say, the current climate in the last 3 years at the club is I don't really think these guys have had a look in it. Tavernier is the perfect example for me. He had a great game against Bournemouth on his debut last year, followed up with a brilliant goal and a great game against Sunderland, and then gets shipped out anyway to MK Dons. So, you know, I don't really know what these kids, how these kids feel about getting a game, but Chapman's another one, had a great season at Blackburn last year. They wanted him back this year. You know, so these guys are on the peripheral. And the game the other night against Notts County, everyone said it was 2-2, and it was a little bit of a, we should have done more. But as we saw in the Carabao Cup, a lot of teams made changes. Bigger teams, teams with bigger squads than us, i.e. Forest, Leeds, for example, still struggle to get through. Cup games don't mean anything in respect of results and how many goals you concede for me. Really, I know there's a couple of teams went places and demolished other teams, but Aston Villa. But realistically for Boro, we've had a lot of people playing together who haven't played together before. We went behind twice and still came back, which shows a character in the whole sort of core of the squad, because even when we're mixing it up, there's kids in, there's youth team players in there, there's fringe players, and we've got that kind of fighting spirit. So it was only Notts County who did make changes too. Positives out of that game, as I mentioned already, with a couple of the youngsters. Fletcher for me. Two different finishes, but first finish proved he's a goal scorer for me, being in the right place at the right time, sticking a ball in the 6-yard box. And then his second goal, which was a great run and a little set up from Walker, looks comfortable on the ball, as I've already mentioned, really kind of calm on the ball, little ball that was to his left, and a really calm, comfortable finish from Fletcher, really composed. This guy's come through the Man United ranks. He is no mug. We haven't seen the best of this kid yet, and I want to see more of him. I'd like to see him start against Bristol City, because I think that would be a good game for him to play. We're going to need to hold on to the ball a little bit more, and we're going to need people with a little bit more who want to run at people, and he's got all that in his locker, and his finishing's really, really, really good. So yeah, we went through in the end, which is the main thing. Doesn't matter who we get in the next round. For me, I think this cup competition is a little bit of a luxury for squad players, but we need to expand the squad. Right now, it's just the fringe players. And as I said at the top of the show, hopefully these fringe players are making a market to get a game. Otherwise, if it ends up being another Tavernier, Trav situation where he plays well and gets shipped out, what's that telling you? So, Bristol City, we know quite a lot about them. They had a good season last year. Well, they had a really good sort of start to the season anyway. From what I've been looking at and expectations, reading fans forums and speaking to sort of Bristol City, people who are involved with Bristol City, they expect a lot from Lee Johnson this year. This is quite a pivotal season. He hasn't had any money really from the looks of it to really expand that squad and improve. So whether that's the board not wanting to back him or whether there just isn't the money there, Fans on the other side of things are a little bit sceptical, 50-50. Some think they're going to have a torrid season. Some think they're going to have a really good season. For me, personally, I think they're a little bit in the same sort of vein as Boro in the respect that they've lost the main man. Bobby Reid was the guy last season for them. I think along with a couple of others that we're going to mention, but Bobby Reid was their real outlet. They were a very fast counter-attacking team, really quick around the area, like to play one-touch football. And Bobby Reid was the guy that got them out of a lot of trouble last year. He's gone now, as Traore has with us, so we've kind of had to adjust our style of football like they have. They've retained Patterson, Wyman's there, who scored a couple of goals already. Patterson scored already this season with an assist too. He looks like a really good player. There's still the same sort of people there in Brownhill. They've got some good talent on the wings in Eliasson, who's Swedish, I think, Nicholas Eliasson, and also Dowder on the other side, who's another player that looks quite good, 22, 23. But that actually is their weakness, defending also. They're very poor either side at defending. They like to get forward, but they don't seem to be exploited a lot on either side. Albeit we haven't had a very good result at Ashton Gate for as long as I can remember, Rob. I don't know if you can remember the last time we won there, but we're past 2012. They've beat us there nearly every season. Last season, they really beat us, even though it was only 2-1. And then the reverse fixture at the Riverside, which we all know was 2-1. But they really dominated the game against us. That was just before they ended up playing Man City, I think, in the Cup. And they were really on a crest of a wave. But as I say, the form dipped at the end of last season, and that kind of put them out the playoff race. This season, they've started the season pretty poorly. Well, really poorly from based on last year. Draw with Forest was a decent draw. Bolton was a draw too, which they came from behind in. Sorry, they were leading, weren't they? In Bolton 2-0. They were leading at Bolton 2-0. Got pegged back to 2-2. And also Plymouth Argyle the other night, or on Tuesday night, guys, the Carabao Cup. Last season they beat that fixture last year. They won 5-1 in exactly the same round. This year they've been beaten. So they've had a poor start to the season, but this is the perfect game for them now to get themselves together, as it is with Boro. Now we've had a good start to the season, a little bit more than we were expecting. Whether or not, you know, we've played anyone of real worth yet, I don't know. Whether we've really tested the squad, I don't know. But what we have got at the moment with Boro is a settled 11 to a point. Braithwaite, as we've mentioned before, is the sort of key man. So for me, this game's going to all be about, really, I would say, sitting back as we do in counter-attacks with the likes of Braithwaite, maybe with Wing, who seems to be becoming a little bit more a fixture now. But they are still a neat attacking footballing team. They do like to retain possession, like to give and go a lot, always trying to look for creative space. As I said, a Dowder and Eliasson will help them make that width. They are, like I say, very good going forward with the wingers, but that's an area for us that we can exploit in behind, again, in the channels. I don't really think there's anything to fear going there. We're like I say, we're confident. I can see it being a tight game again. We've had a lot of chances in the last few games. We've scored 7 goals in 6 goals in 3 games. Obviously, I don't count the Notts County game, but there's nothing for us to fear there. Like I said, they're not the same team as last year. They've lost Bobby Reid, which has affected them more than us losing Traore, I would suggest right now, because we've looked to galvanise a little bit more. And actually, people like Howson this season, and even Shotton's looked a bit. He's released the shackles, has looked like a right winger, to be honest. He's had some really good runs, but I think this will be a bit more of a defensive game in the respect for Shotton. I don't think he'll be able to get as forward as much as he likes. I don't know. I hope he can, but I can see them trying to press us quite high from the start. So for me, this game is a game that we don't need to worry about. Lee Johnson is a manager that I rate, but he hasn't really been back, like I say. And I know Bristol City fans may disagree with me there. They're, like I said, a 50-50 whether they think he's done a good job or not. I think for a club from where they've come from, they've done really well. I think managers always don't really get the chance to show us what they've got until they get money to spend, as we found out with Gary Monk. He's great with a squad of players, but he gives somebody money to spend and they maybe can't do the business then. So, for me, prediction-wise, I'm going to say 2-1 Boro. Rob, any suggestions?
1-0 Boro.
Love that. Positivity's back in the air, guys. So, listen, as always, the show's about you. We've got the Monday night show, as I say. We're going to be doing other things, but like, share and subscribe us on YouTube and Twitter. Facebook if you need to. Every medium's a good one. But for me, I've been Mr. Fox. Foxy, whatever you want to call me. Any abuse is good for me. That's been Rob. So, take care, guys. Get positive. Get behind the team. Let's get a big following down there. We'll be there as usual. Peace out. Toes in the blood, whoever you are, wherever you are.